All right, let's jump right into it. Serie A round 12. What a roller coaster, eh? Goals flying at left, right, and center. Managers getting the boot left and right. And that title race, oh boy, tighter than ever before.
It was a wild one, that's for sure. We here at Tipsmodo, we were glued to our screens all week. So many surprises, so many moments that just make you jump out of your seat.
And you know that's exactly what we're here to dissect today. By the end of this deep dive, you'll know all the key talking points, the players you need to keep your eye on, all that good stuff.
And speaking of keeping an eye on things, we've been keeping our supercomputer busy, crunching all the numbers, trying to make sense of this crazy, beautiful game.
Well, let's start with the big picture, shall we? The title race. I mean, come on, 2 points separating the top six teams. That's just insane.
Absolutely bonkers. We've got Napoli hanging on to the top spot by their fingernails with 26 points, but right behind them, Atalanta, Fiorentina, Inter, all tied at 25.
And we can't forget Lazio. They're right there in the mix, too.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the sleeping giant, Juventus, 24 points, lurking just behind the leaders, waiting to pounce.
And speaking of pouncing, they've got that massive clash with AC Milan coming up. That one could really shake things up.
We're already running the simulations on that one, trust me. The data's painting a fascinating picture. Keep an eye on our social media for the full breakdown.
All right, so enough about the big picture. Let's talk about the players who really stole this show this week. First up, a name that's been on a bit of a journey. Moise Kean. We all know the talent's there, but he was a bit lost at Juventus last season. Now, Fiorentina. He's a different animal altogether.
Yeah, his hat trick against Udinese, that wasn't just a fluke. We've been watching him closely under Palladino, Fiorentina's manager, and the transformation is remarkable.
It really makes you wonder if Juventus might be regretting letting him go, doesn't it?
Perhaps, perhaps. But that's the transfer market for you. It's a gamble. So many factors at play. What we can say for sure is Keane is on fire right now. Huge boost for Fiorentina. And for anyone who has him in their fantasy team.
All right, now let's talk about another player who made a huge impact. Gabriele Zappa. He's a defender for Cagliari, right? But you wouldn't know it from the way he played against AC Milan.
On fire, that's the only way to put it. 2 goals, almost had a hat trick. He was a constant menace going forward. You know, we actually predicted that Zappa would have a big game offensively.
Really?
Yeah, we've been noticing Cagliari pushing their fullbacks high up the pitch, and we knew Zappa had the pace and the skill to exploit that.
So not just luck then.
Yeah.
Actual data-driven prediction. See, this is why I love Tipsmodo.
We're all about data and football intelligence, my friend.
All right, so we've had the high flyers. But let's talk about someone who had a bit of a rough week. Theo Hernandez, AC Milan's captain, didn't quite look himself against Cagliari. Couple of uncharacteristic errors.
This is where our in-depth player analysis really comes into play. We don't just look at the raw stats, we look at the context, injuries, personal issues, playing out of position. All these things can impact performance.
So with Hernandez, is this a dip in form or just an off day?
It's too early to say for sure, but we're keeping a very close eye on him, analyzing training data, recent performances, all that. And of course, we'll be sharing our insights with our Tipsmodo community as soon as we have a clearer picture.
Speaking of insights, let's talk about Jesper Karlsson. Came off the bench for Bologna and boom, snatched that late winner against Roma. What an impact.
Yeah, talk about making a statement. Now, we didn't explicitly predict that Karlsson would score a winner, but we had flagged him as a player to watch. His pace, his directness, especially against tired legs, always a threat.
So a savvy fantasy football manager might have had him tucked away on their bench, ready to unleash at just the right moment.
Exactly. And if you're looking for those kinds of under-the-radar gems, you know where to find us. Tipsmodo, across all your socials.
All right, let's shift gears a bit now. Let's talk about that managerial merry-go-round, spinning like crazy this week. We saw 2 experienced coaches, Raffaele Palladino and Ivan Juric, having very different weeks.
Yeah, Palladino, he's doing an incredible job at Fiorentina, as we mentioned. They're playing attractive, attacking football, genuine title contenders. And it's no coincidence that Moise Kean has thrived under his leadership.
It's all about getting the best out of your players, right?
Absolutely. And Palladino, he seems to have a knack for that, creating a positive environment, tactically astute, motivating his players. We believe he's a key factor in Fiorentina's success, and that's something we're factoring into our predictions.
On the other side of the coin, we had Ivan Juric, sacked by Roma after a disappointing run.
It happens, you know. Juric is a good coach, no doubt, proven track record. But sometimes the fit just isn't right. The chemistry wasn't there at Roma, and results speak for themselves. Be interesting to see where he ends up next.
It's a reminder that football management is a tough gig. It's a results-driven business. No room for sentiment. Before we move on, gotta ask, what's your take on the current state of Italian managers? We've got these exciting young coaches like Palladino coming through, but also the old guard, the veterans.
Yeah, it's a great mix. Really adds to the intrigue of the league. You've got the tactical nous of the experienced guys combined with the fresh ideas of the new generation. It's a recipe for some fantastic football.
And plenty to analyze,
Yeah.
plenty to predict, which is where Tips Moto comes in, right?
That's what we live for. Our analysts, they're constantly studying the trends, the tactics, the player performances, all to give you the edge.
All right, so let's talk about the match that had everyone talking, the one that had us all on the edge of our seats. Cagliari versus AC Milan. 6 goals, end-to-end stuff. A draw that felt like a win for Cagliari.
Yeah, a proper roller coaster. A real showcase of what Serie A is all about. The passion, the drama, the sheer unpredictability.
We saw some absolute stunners, didn't we? Rafael Leone's goal for AC Milan was beauty. And that assist from Tijani Reinders, magical.
And we can't forget Gabriele Zappa, of course. Heroic performance. Our pre-match analysis actually suggested Cagliari might be able to exploit AC Milan's high defensive line. Zappa definitely took advantage.
So if you were following our Tips Moto predictions, you might have been onto a winner with that one.
Let's just say we were pretty pleased with that one.
Now that match was a fireworks display. But the Derby della Mole, Juventus versus Torino, was a bit more of a chess match. Juventus came out on top 2-0, looked very solid at the back, and ruthless up front.
Very efficient performance. Classic Allegri, really. They might not always be the most entertaining team to watch, but they get the job done.
Yeah, Cambiaso and Yildiz with the goals, and they got great support from the rest of the team. Torino, on the other hand, struggled to create much, and they really missed Duvan Zapata, their striker. He's out injured at the moment.
Yeah, Zapata's absence was massive. He's their main goal threat. Without him, they lacked that cutting edge. Actually, we had predicted a Juventus win in this one, and Zapata's absence was a key factor in our analysis.
Another Tips Moto prediction on the money. It's like you guys have a crystal ball or something.
No crystal ball, just good old-fashioned data and expertise.
All right, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, let's give some props to a few other noteworthy performances from round 12. Marco Carnesecchi, Atalanta's goalkeeper. He was absolutely immense against Udinese. Pulled off some world-class saves, crucial to their 2-1 win.
Yeah, like a brick wall. A masterclass in goalkeeping, a reminder that a good goalkeeper can be the difference between winning and losing.
And speaking of goalkeepers, unfortunately we have to mention Alan Sherry, Cagliari's keeper. He had a bit of a nightmare against AC Milan. Couple of costly errors.
It's a tough position, goalkeeping. Even the best have off days. Highlights the importance of factoring in things like form and confidence when making predictions, which is something we're always mindful of at Tips Moto.
So you're not just looking at the big names, you're looking at every detail, every nuance that could influence the game. All right, folks, welcome back. Final part of our deep dive. We've dissected round 12. Now it's time to look ahead, see what's coming up. And of course, we've got some expert betting tips courtesy of Tips Moto.
You know it. Get those notepads ready. We're about to drop some serious knowledge.
First up, the big one. Juventus AC Milan. Clash of the Titans. Both teams need a win to stay in this crazy title race. What are we thinking?
Well, we're Tips Moto, right? We don't mess around with gut feelings. Our supercomputer, it's been working overtime, crunching the numbers, analyzing everything, head-to-head records, recent form, player stats. We even factor in things like weather and the referee.
Leave no stone unturned, eh?
We got to give our users the best, most accurate predictions. And right now, based on what we're seeing, we're giving a slight edge to Juventus.
Makes sense. Home advantage, solid defense. They know how to handle the big occasion.
Exactly. But AC Milan, they're no pushovers. They've got serious firepower up front. Lyon, Giroud, they can hurt anyone.
So it's not going to be a walk in the park for Juventus.
Definitely not. We think Juventus will edge it, maybe even a draw, but hey, anything can happen in football.
That's the beauty of it. Unpredictable. But hey, if you're looking for a betting angle, maybe Juventus to win or draw. Do your own research though, folks. Always bet responsibly.
And make sure you check out our socials for the full breakdown on that match. We'll be diving deep into all the key factors.
All right, next up, another juicy one. Fiorentina. Inter. Fiorentina, they're flying high right now under Palladino. And Inter, well, they're always a threat.
This is a tough one to call. Fiorentina are playing with so much confidence. Attacking flair, they can cause problems for anyone. But Inter, they're battle-hardened, experienced. They know how to grind out results.
Attacking flair versus defensive steel. Classic matchup.
Exactly. Our analysis, it's basically saying this one's a coin toss. Fiorentina, home advantage, momentum, all that. But Inter, they've got the quality to nick it on the road.
So maybe one to just sit back and enjoy.
Unless you're feeling lucky. If you are, check out our Tips Moto socials. We'll have our expert predictions up soon.
Now, a couple of other matches worth keeping an eye on. Atalanta, Lazio, that one could be a goal fest.
Oh, yeah. Atalanta, they're scoring for fun. And Lazio, they always love a good attack. We're expecting goals in that one. Both teams to score. That's a good bet.
And then we've got Roma, new manager, looking to make a statement. Tricky away game at Bologna, though.
Always tough to predict how a team will react to a new manager. But Bologna, they tend to raise their game against the bigger sides.
So another tough one to call.
We're leaning towards Bologna, slight favorites, home advantage, decent record against Roma. But hey, who knows? That's Serie A for you.
All right, so there you have it, folks. Round 13 coming up fast. And as always, Tips Moto, we've got you covered.
Insights, analysis, predictions, all designed to help you make smarter betting choices.
So if you want to win, you know what to do. Join the Tips Moto community, all our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're everywhere. Get involved.
We're your one-stop shop for Serie A success.
That's it for this week's Deep Dive. Until next time, keep the faith, and may your bets be winners.